I love this movie. It's not even like, I can't even put my finger on it. I think it's a little bit of nostalgic attachment. We are reviewing Fandango. I can't stand it when we say reviewing, because this is more like just a conversation of like the experience we had while watching it. I told you that I saw this one day. It was a Saturday, and there was nothing going on. I think I was a junior in high school, and it was I'd never even heard of it before, and it was on TV on some station, and I saw it from just about the beginning, and I think I was about a year from graduation, and this was about like five, but really four people who were graduating from college, because the one guy's drunk and he barely says anything throughout the entire movie. But I wrote like an essay for a scholarship, and I used the idea of guys taking a drive on the road, just going on a little mini vacation, because I had just gotten my car at this point. Mm-hmm. And I had just taken a couple of road trips with some friends, and it was just kind of it felt like I was stepping into a new part of life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I finally had some freedom to get away and experience the world a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that's what Fandango was all about. Mm-hmm. I also mentioned to you that this was originally a student film, and you did all the digging, you did all the prep work on this, and you found out way more about the original than I just knew there was a student film, and then Amblin and Steven Spielberg picked it up. But fill me in on what you found, because it was his original film was called Proof, or it was part of his original treatment was he did a student film called Proof. Was that it?
Yes, Kevin Reynolds, the director of Fandango, did a student film called Proof, and I don't really. There
were other films in that, wasn't there? Or it was part of a.
So after seeing Fandango, I really wanted to watch Proof, and I kind of thought it would be easier to find than it was. But I did eventually come across it, and it's part of a DVD of short films by famous directors.
Okay, and did all these guys get their movie picked up by somebody else to have it made into a bigger feature, or just
I don't know those details. I only saw like the cover of the DVD box with it's called Real something, REEL, which I don't know why it didn't occur to me that it was that detailed. But anyway, it's like pictures of all the directors. I mean, they're all big names, huge names that you know. So I don't really know any more information about everyone's quote original films, where they went. But I would really like to see it.
We should see if we can
dig
that up.
It's 3 hours long.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
but it's all everybody's different films, so it's not.
I mean, that's not going to deter me. I'd watch that.
Oh no, it's not deterring me either. I'm just saying that that's not exactly what I was thinking it was going to be, and also I just sort of wanted to watch Proof. No offense to anyone else's films. I'd totally watch all those movies.
But Proof was the original film that Fandango was made in, that was made into Fandango.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so to give everyone the overview, it's 1971 at the University of Texas. It's a graduation party, and there are 5 guys named, they self-stylized their group as with the name the Groovers.
And just for anyone listening, side note detail from myself, it's Groovers, Groovers. I did not get that the whole movie, and then when
What did you think it was? You couldn't tell?
I couldn't get that spelling from it.
Oh,
I couldn't get that it was like Groovers.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I thought it was, but I did not. When I was reading things later, I was like,
with 71.
Oh, exactly, 100%.
Okay, with 1971 and, music and groove to the beat, whatever.
No, I did not.
Okay.
I was not alive back then.
So, I was just barely becoming alive.
Okay.
So they're graduating from the University of Texas, and they're about to start real life. But in 1971, the draft is on, and these guys, their student deferment is now up. So a few of them are drafted for Vietnam by the Army, and one guy is really gung ho and ready to go, and we should point out that Kevin Reynolds goes on to collaborate with the star of the film, Kevin Costner. He's not the one who's real gung ho to go, and he's more the carefree, footloose leader of the group.
Yeah, very much so.
And then I keep forgetting. Is it Sam Wagner? Is Sam Robards? Is that? He's the number 2, right? The guy who gets married?
Yeah, sure. I think so because he's not listed in what I'm reading currently.
So that's Sam Robards. Chuck Bush is Dorman, who is kind of the...
Oh, yes. Confirmed.
Chuck Bush is Dorman, who is the big, lovable, nearly silent muscle of the group.
I really liked his character.
Everybody likes his character because he's constantly smiling, big fuzzy hair, and he
just helps everybody else. Not to cut you off. He just helps everybody out without saying or doing anything. Like he
he does, like with the train.
Yeah.
He was the muscle for that.
That's true. Well, I guess I didn't finish what I was going to say, and I just liked his character because the way I would phrase it is he sees a need for something and he just like gets in there and does it. No one asks him or tells him what to do. He just does
what is necessary.
Thank you.
Moment.
What is exactly. Yeah.
And
like a cuddly bear.
It's no real surprise that he studied to be a minister in college. That becomes that's just kind of used as a footnote at the very beginning in the movie. I don't know if you heard it when the parents show up and he was introducing everybody. He said that Dorman was going to be a minister.
Yes,
but
I think
that comes about late at the very end of the movie. So who else? Brian Kessick is Lester Griffin. Was he the drunk accountant?
I think so.
He must have been Lester, yeah. Who says almost nothing through the entire movie because he's totally hungover. Susie Amos is Debbie, and we went back and forth because she was so familiar looking. More so to you, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it you're like, I've seen her before. I'm like, she's very pretty, and I don't know why I haven't seen her in more stuff. And you said you have, and it turns out. Not before this, she was a Ford model.
Yes.
And then she's not the character. She's the niece or the granddaughter in Titanic.
Yes, she plays the niece of the older Rose.
Of the older Rose, right? And she showed up in some other, but those were, I think, her big roles.
This movie was her feature film.
Her first movie,
debut.
Right? Marvin McIntyre is Truman Sparks. He is comedically the best part of the movie, in my opinion, just because he's such a complete goofball.
Do you know him from other things?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
He was in. You know what? He did a lot of. I don't know a lot, but he was in a Clint Eastwood movie, one of the spaghetti westerns. We'll look it up later. He was a tough. There was I can't remember if it was A Few Dollars More or The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. But one of those. Those are all like sequels.
Oh, I see.
But he's been in a couple. He's had bit parts in movies in the 70s and 80s.
I see. Okay, yeah, he was great. Really funny.
But okay, what to encapsulate here? These guys are graduating. It's on the eve of their graduation in their apartment or house, frat house. And were they in a frat? I think.
I think so. Yeah, they're having a huge party, a huge celebration. We're done with school. your typical college
Blowout,
party.
yeah.
Like, yeah, blowout. And
it starts off Kevin Costner's by himself in a room just throwing darts at a picture of him and Susie Amos, and come to find out that they were an item.
Mm-hmm.
But now, in present day, Susie is hooked up with Ken Wagner / Sam Robards, who, side note, is the son of Jason Robards, I think.
yes, remind me who that is.
Older actor. He was in. This actually might be a good movie to watch. It's Something Wicked This Way Comes. He's been in a number of movies.
Okay.
He's a very famous, I think, classically trained actor. Did a lot on stage. If you saw him, you'd be like, "Oh, this guy."
Yeah,
you know who he was? He was. Did you ever see Parenthood with Steve Martin?
Yeah, a million years ago, I think.
Okay, he was his dad.
I'm pretty sure I know who we're talking about exactly.
Yeah.
Also, while we're on the subject of this family, Susie Amos and Sam Robards.
Robards, yeah. They were actually married in real life.
Yes.
And
For a while before she married James Cameron.
yeah, before she traded up to big money James Cameron. Oh, it's not all about the money. Really? Come on.
You put me in your most famous movie? What?
Yeah, and marry me into your multi-billion-dollar fortune. So they, on the eve of their anyway, back to the story. They, on the eve of their graduation, what's his name? Wagner comes into the house and is all bummed out and saddened because he broke off his engagement with Debbie. And what are you looking up? You have this. Louisa says this, you're disgusted by something. What's the matter?
Jason Robards' life.
What's it?
I'm not disgusted by his life. I'm just looking at his facts and when he was born and when he died, and it just says cause of death, metastatic lung cancer, and that just made me make the okay, thank you. That just made me make the face.
Oh yeah, well he smoked, I'm sure.
That's what I was thinking. He was married to a lot of ladies, including Lauren Bacall.
Slung it around, didn't he?
I remember researching this. I know it doesn't relate. Please continue. I'm sorry.
So anyway, Gardner Barnes, Kevin Costner, who, further sidebar, in the original movie Proof, Kevin lobbied to get that role, and what's his name, the director?
Kevin Reynolds.
Kevin Reynolds turned him down.
Yes.
And then put him in this one, in the remake that Amblin picked up and Steven Spielberg made.
Yeah.
So he decides that the Groovers need to take a last-minute road trip to this, what is it, like a bar on the Mexican-Texas border, and to get the infamous Dom, which you think for most of the movie is a person or a place or something.
100%.
But they also want to go to this bar to have tequila and tacos and whatever. They've gone there early in their college career. So they all pile in Judd Nelson, who is Phil Hicks, the gung-ho kid for the Army. They pile in his car and tear off. And
it is Judd Nelson who you think it is.
Yeah,
it is that Judd Nelson.
From
Super Young.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Super Young.
The Breakfast Club.
From Breakfast Club. Well, this was 85. This would have been...
Oh, so maybe not. He just looks very different.
I don't know which... Was Breakfast Club 84? Might want to look that up, but...
85.
Oh, yeah, so these were back-to-back. So that was a good year for him.
Really good year.
Well, actually, not from this, though. I think this maybe gave him a
starter, like a little
Yeah,
bump.
because I don't... Like, this Fandango did not do well.
Yeah.
it developed a cult following later, but it was a
way
huge
later.
disappointment. Didn't even break them. I think it only paid $50,000 or $500,000.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, it did not make a lot of money at the box office.
Yep.
But VHS and rentals and television plays, it made a bigger splash over time. So anyway, these guys tear off into the Texas desert, into West Texas, and they're drinking and driving and hooting and hollering and making a nuisance of themselves. And there's just I guess in short, Fandango just gives you a couple little adventures that they go on in their search for meaning and trying to grapple with the end of college and actually becoming adults and what that next step into life looks like. And Kevin Costner and Sam Robards, or Gardner Barnes and Ken Wagner, make it, or they kind of have an argument with Judd Nelson, because is this before, do they have the argument before or after the thing with the train?
I think right after the train.
Yeah, so they run out of gas.
In the absolute middle of nowhere. I mean, there is nothing. And also, for those of you listening nowadays, there were no cell phones.
Yeah.
There might not have even been a payphone. I mean, it's not like they had any
money
anyway.
They're in West Texas. Which for anybody...
Nothing around.
Yeah, like all the action is on the coast and in the east. In West Texas, there is dick all.
And all the action that they're seeing, if they see any in West Texas, is what we would call disgusting, repulsive Louisa wildlife.
Your buddy Jay doesn't have a problem with it, but like, I don't even. You're referring to what, a lizard? They take a.
The beginning of the movie, they opened with every kind of animal they could find in that empty place.
I don't know why you.
There were like 7 in a row. There was a snake. There was an armadillo. There was a lizard.
Armadillos don't hurt you. They're just big rats with armor.
Okay.
And they wander. They'll run away from it, and they curl up into a ball.
It's the snake that's the biggest problem.
Anyway.
It was a nice opening.
During their when they run out of gas, one of these little adventures that unfolds is they notice a train, and they get the idea that if they can tie the car to the passing train, it'll tow them to some other place. And Dorman just kind of he gloms onto the idea. They don't ask him to do anything, but he just goes over and grabs a wire fence post and rips the wire off the post, because he's just, this guy is just massive.
It's so crazy. I was like in shock after that happened.
And he makes a lasso out of it. This is a steel cable, and he makes a lasso out of it. And they tie it to the front of this. This is an old like 57 Chevy or something. Not a convertible, but they tie it to the front of this, and Dorman lassos it to the back of this train. They all pile in the car, and they're freaking out because they're afraid that, this is going to... They're tying their car to a train, and it's right before the slack comes out of the cable. Gardner Barnes has the realization, like, hey, how are we going to stop?
Yep.
The slack tightens, and instead of towing the car, it rips the front of the car off. Not the engine, just that, like, the whole body assembly comes clean off, which starts the descent of Phil Hicks into just being angry at these other guys for being irresponsible, because Gardner Barnes and Ken Wagner have been talking about ditching and dodging the draft, because this is the next step for them. And he's just furious about this, and he gets into this argument with them. And Gardner and Kevin admit that up till now, they weren't really friends with him. They just felt sorry for him, and that's why they let him hang around. Which is kind of I think a blow to his ego.
I think so.
And they're in the car. They had stopped at some point. They get gas, and they're driving now with no front end, just an engine. And I can imagine what that car would have looked like just passing you on the road. He grabs a couple of them by the shirt collars and just says that I'll take on any challenge, anytime, any place, anywhere. And this is another one of Chuck Bush / Dorman's standout moments. As Phil is having this meltdown, Dorman is driving and he just hits the brakes. And everybody flies into the front seat, and Dorman has this big grin on his face, looking out the window, and they all look out the window, and they notice there's a sign for a skydiving school. And Phil Hicks is notoriously afraid of heights. So Ken and Gardner go back and forth. Ken says something like, he's afraid of heights. And Gardner says, well, most weenies are.
And he can't stand hearing that.
Okay, yeah, he just swallows. You can see in that moment he swallows his pride, like,
nope.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for a second he was just like, and Kevin just says, all right, Field Marshal, let's do it. And this is the scene where we meet Truman Sparks.
Yes.
Now this skydiving school is a wreck. There are broken planes and pieces of fuselage all over the runways. There is a plane that has crashed into the hangar and is partially projecting out of the hangar door. The place is a mess, and Truman lives in like a busted up trailer with his wife / girlfriend.
Don't
whatever.
they live in an airplane?
What?
Don't they live in an airplane?
Maybe I thought it was a whatever,
okay.
But it's there.
It's worse than you can think.
Yeah,
it is.
They're eking out an existence, but he has he likes
it's a
what he
massive
does.
airplane hangar, but there's nothing more to it. It's
in the middle
like
of West
the frame.
Texas. Yeah, there's nothing there except these two people, and she's a bit of a hippie, and I think she's made detergent from grinding corn.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, and
laundry detergent.
You can tell Truman's had a few too many. A little too much weed and a little too much acid during the 60s. And he's just kind of a screwball and a pilot. And I think he may have done a couple of tours in Vietnam, but he takes Phil through this jump school. And how would you describe the actual school? It lasts for about 2 minutes, and you're pretty fairly confident before they go up in the airplane that Phil's going to die.
Yeah. It's, lacking is putting it nicely. I mean, as Jay said, the two people that are at this skydiving school are this crazy guy and his wife. And then, this group of college guys shows up, going on a dare.
And they convince him to take Phil up on a, like, without paying, that just saying
that's right.
They scheme to say, yeah, they're like, we're going to write an article about you in the Atlantic.
Everything they did in this movie was a scheme. Nothing was, I mean, they didn't
legitimate.
have
it was all personality.
It was. They didn't have any money. They didn't have anything that they could, like, buy or barter with. They just went on words. It was all, and so yeah,
they had an amazing experience.
They really did.
Which I think is
yeah.
I don't want to say that I never brought value to people's lives, but like that really I think that's the point of the movie that I really have filed away in my personality, that like people want to interact with one another and just have an experience more than anything. And that's what these guys did. They just, even when it came down to the wedding, they convinced people, just like, hey, we're having a wedding and like it's falling apart here, can you help us? And everybody just, it just bands together and puts together this ramshackle wedding for these people. But we'll get to that. So I think it might be a good idea not to give away what happens with the skydiving event, with the laundry and all that.
Okay.
But it's it's my favorite part of the movie. Worth it just for that. I think that's like the end of it isn't even really it's not like it's not a trigger ending, and it's not a giant climax or anything. The real climax is kind of in the middle when Phil has to go skydiving. But in short, he survives, and the relationship between the four of them changes for the better.
I just will add too that it says here that the famous skydiving sequence in Fandango was taken shot for shot from proof.
Oh, it was?
That even makes me want to see it more. Yeah, but that's pretty cool. I would not have known that.
They enlist Gardner Barnes, Truman Sparks, I'm mixing up the names. Marvin McIntyre and / Truman Sparks later in this movie, but after the skydiving sequence, they make it to this bar, which is now abandoned in the middle of nowhere, which is kind of sad, because there were people who worked. You think about it, there were people who worked here in this. It was just on the side of the highway. There was no town. It was just a restaurant, bar. That's it. And it's just a shell of a place. There's a scene where these, they're talking outside in front of it, and Dorman's just walking around on the inside looking for beer. And there's
nothing there.
There's nothing there. And then they find a valley, which apparently they had been to this place before, I would assume when they were freshmen. And a valley that leads down to a river. And a huge rock as they're climbing down the escarpment with the words Dom written in chalk on the side of it. This is the whole reason these guys have driven out into the middle of nowhere, was to find this, what you assume is a person. They start digging at the base of this rock, and they hit what you think is a coffin until his hands come down to pull it out, and you're like, oh, this isn't whatever they're digging up, it's not that big. And it turns out to be just a bottle of
champagne,
of Dom Perignon, and like a Magnum, maybe not a Magnum, like a regular sized bottle of it. I don't know where 4 or 5
college
teenagers in the 70s got a bottle of Dom Perignon,
and then buried it and kept it safe for.
Well,
years.
I mean, it was out in the middle of nowhere.
I mean, that part, yes, that's true.
But I would think, like, if you were in college, this is the kind of thing that if you had friends, you would say, all right, we're coming back in 4 years to dig this up. So they all take a swig, and they toast to kind of just to growing up, where they've been and where they're going. And Wagner realizes that he's kind of blown things with Debbie. And his buddies convince him that, Oh, something I left out was that at the skydiving sequence, when they're meeting Truman, Phil Hicks says to the guys, he's like, all right, if I do this, you can't dodge the draft.
Yep, right. You have to promise me.
You have to promise. You have to swear it. And he's really talking to Wagner because he knows Barnes will just be like, fuck this. I'm not going there. I'm not doing it. And Wagner tacitly agrees to it.
Yep.
He's like, all right, I'll do it. And even later, he's like, I swore this is something I gotta do. But they convince, you gotta help me out with the names, Truman, to fly out to East Texas to pick up Debbie.
Yes.
And that, he's flying around Dallas, I think, like in '85 before it was built up. He's flying around Dallas. He lands in her front yard, picks her up, and then brings her back to the guys in this middle of nowhere town.
It's a miracle to me that plane can make it anywhere. First of all, that it can go up in the air. Second of all, that it did what it did for the skydiving event. And then...
What do you mean? Because pieces of it were hanging off?
It just looks like so...
rickety?
Yeah. Like super shady and not... I wouldn't get in
like
that
a lot of those
plane.
planes, they have a lot of airtime and they don't... you would look at it and you're like, that thing... But there's nothing that's going to run into it. It's not like a car that has to be like super structured. And because there's other things out on the road that can run into you. It's not like that in a plane. As long as it's aerodynamic and creates lift. And
it's going. Yeah.
So...
But that was a very funny use of it.
Yeah, honestly, if you see the movie, you're going to know what Louisa is talking about because this thing looks like it's held together by like paper clips and rubber bands. But
when they need to get said lady from point A to point B, how are they going to do it?
She didn't have a problem with it.
She did not.
And during the pickup, Phil and Gardner just kind of convince everybody in town to help out with this impromptu wedding.
Yes.
And it's kind of magical.
It is.
Do you remember the scene where there was a couple of flashback scenes where Gardner was wooing Debbie? Kevin Costner was wooing Debbie.
Mm-hmm, yeah, there were a few. Because weren't they an item before?
They were an item. Yeah. And now, at the wedding, Wagner offers Gardner Debbie's hand for a dance. And he pulls out a handkerchief that he has used in, like when they were playing in the flower field. He offers that up as a Fandango. Because I think you use a handkerchief in a Fandango. Or you can.
Okay.
And they have a sweet moment where like there's a potential kiss, but they both realize that they had their time in the sun and now it's over. And as far as an ending goes, Gardner just kind of salutes his buddy. He kind of ditches his buddies. I think he kind of knew at the end that their time as friends was kind of drawing to a close. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Between Kevin Costner and
Well,
Debbie.
because he left. He just ran up to a hill. He left the town and ran up to a hill and just kind of watched the lights go out.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And Wagner is saying goodbye to Dorman. Dorman's just kind of like, I'm out of here. Mm-hmm. And he stops him and walks over and they shake hands. Actually, it's not Wagner, it's Phil.
Yep.
Phil walks over and they shake hands.
Yep.
And Dorman just says, have a nice life. This was also the scene where, what's his name? Lester Griffith wakes up out of his stupor.
Uh-huh.
And I don't understand what he could have brought to their friendship because the four of them were plenty. I mean, just in the course of their lives, because he just wakes up and says to the other guys, "Hey, look me up sometime. Arthur Anderson in Dallas. Take care." He's like, he already got this job with Arthur Anderson. I'm going to be an accountant. That's going to be my life. See you later.
Call me if you're in town.
Yeah, and that's it. And the funny thing is I remember graduating college thinking that I was going to keep in touch with everybody.
Yep.
Maybe 8 people. Maybe probably more like 5.
I felt like that when I graduated from high school.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lose touch with these people. I've known these people my whole life so far. Why would I? And then you just go off and you all do different things.
That's the thing about these movies is that, or a movie like this, is it really illustrates that, especially for young people when they're in high school or college or learning situations for a number of years, there's a gravity that happens when you leave university or schools, and there's some people you've connected with enough to maintain that bond, but most you don't. Even if you want to, like, people have their own trajectory they're going on, and they have other things that they're trying to pull into their ecosystem and into their sphere of influence. Some people want to be parents and some people don't. Some people are very career driven. They travel the world. Some people just want to have a little life and they want it to be quiet, or they want to maintain. There's no rhyme. Life is just becomes so chaotic. And I think this movie does a pretty good job of highlighting, be in the moment, and when you have a good experience it and feel it, but don't expect that it's gonna, you're gonna be able to recreate it, or it's gonna go on forever.
Yeah.
What else did we want to say about this here? Trying to think of what else. As far as the release goes, Warner Brothers delayed it. There was a 4-day reshoot, limited release in '85 in January. So I think Breakfast Club came out, I want to say, in the spring. It only did, 91,000?
Overall, yeah.
Wow, that sucks. DVD release in 2005. Spielberg was disappointed with it. Sorry, Steve. That's the thing that I think. That's the thing, is he probably liked it. He liked it as a story, but probably bummed out it didn't do better at, in the box office. That's the thing, is that what qualified as a successful movie, it's totally different now. And in the time of theaters, I mean, this movie really came about when home theater and video stores were really kind of really getting ramped up.
Yeah, it wasn't something that was at the box office that people were talking about or telling their friends.
No, but in the early 80s, like, people getting VHS or Betamax and then bringing it home, that was a real, just kind of a touchstone, like, if you found out a friend had a VCR at home, it was like, so we could see a movie at home? That sounds awesome.
Yeah, in your own.
It was incredible. Yeah, it was incredible. And I remember grocery stores had little movie sections or video sections before. Yeah, they did. It was just like, I remember the Spartan store in Elk Rapids had a couple of shelves of videos, and you'd come in, you'd rent them, and then bring them back.
I vaguely remember seeing that. Yeah, that sounds sort of familiar. I wouldn't have.
You wouldn't have. Yeah, you were too young.
No, I remember Kroger had a video store.
Yeah, see, they went from little. They
And
went
I thought
from
that was so weird.
they went from mom and pop stores to
Yeah.
like Kroger and Meyer to having their own stores like Blockbuster and
Okay.
Family Video and things like that.
That's oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
I'd
and there were
completely-
like little mom and pop video stores. Yeah,
I remember growing up we didn't do TV and movies and technology, and so we didn't. We just bypassed that, but I do remember that being there.
oh yeah,
Oh
did it
my
all the time, all the
gosh.
time. This was a regular like Friday night was movie rental.
Yeah, see, that came later in my life.
Oh yeah,
Every weekend, we would go to the movie store and we would get movies for the weekend.
oh shit,
And
yeah. This
then-
was. God damn, I did this at my mother's house when my parents split up. That was basically 82, 83 to right through high school.
I remember one time.
God, we even did it in college too. God, that's
Yeah.
a long stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that would have been like 82 through 97.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, no, I take that even further because when I lived in California after college. Like 6 months later, I went to California, lived there for 2 years, and then I moved to Chicago. And even after I bought my place in Chicago, there was a Blockbuster. This was right before Netflix.
Okay.
So I rented movies up through probably 2008, 2009.
Netflix was coming when you were in Chicago?
Oh, yeah. But they were sending it to your house. They were
That's
sending
right.
you
Yeah,
DVDs.
DVD through the mail. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember. Okay. Yep.
You'd come home and go, hey, I got a movie in the mail.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because you could order like 3 or 4 at a time.
Uh-huh.
And then just drop it in the mail back. And if you'd have a queue,
Yep.
but they would only send you like 3 or 4 at a time.
Yep.
And then you drop one in the mail back. And this was before they were streaming.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Wow, I forgot about those
I was
days,
renting
too.
through Blockbuster through maybe 08, 09,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, wow, that would have been 30. Was that 30 years from early 80s? So 80s, 90s, first block. Yeah, it's about 30 years. Wow. The video store.
Good times at the video store.
Let me see what else. Reception. People didn't know what they were missing with this movie.
It's kind of it's called kind of a cult classic. Now.
I'm having a hard time pulling up the notes on it, but
Well, I'll talk
Yeah,
for a
what-
minute. The film you said before, I think, was delayed. The release date was delayed because Warner Brothers thought that because of the unknown cast, it wouldn't do well. No one knew who they were. No one was really familiar. I mean, it just wasn't a movie that they thought, it's not a big blockbuster movie. Even though Steven Spielberg picked it up and helped to produce it, it still wasn't. I mean, we talked about earlier, it didn't really make that much money. It just wasn't a big success in the theater. Sometimes that happens with movies. Isn't that kind of like what a sleeper hit is?
that's exactly what a sleeper hit is. Or like, for anyone listening to this, what's funny about this is kind of a trip down memory lane for the movie-going experience for Louisa and I, because this is not how you guys really consume movies anymore. There's a ton of stuff released. AI is going to make produced content for you. People make their own content, but a movie was like a total social experience. There was no Facebook or
Huge. What did you say? Social experiment?
experience. Like going in a couple of different ways. You could rent things that your friends liked, that you and your friends liked, or you could do it with a family member or with, someone you were interested in dating, or if you wanted to do something for the evening, you went out to the movies. And people just consume their own content, which is interesting now because I think content now kind of reflects more of what your personal personality is. Like if I show you and I, we kind of have the same sense of humor. So you've seen some of the things that I look at that some folks would find to be, they don't care for dark humor, but it's definitely within my wheelhouse. But I could take this to any of my colleagues or anybody I work with at Eastern Market, and I could show the stuff that I look at on Instagram to certain customers, and if I don't know them, the reaction's going to be mixed, because it's the depth of content on Instagram or on Facebook or on any of the movie platforms is so dense. It just wasn't like that. There was maybe 10 to 15 movies out at any particular time, and you knew who all the... This is another thing, like the conversation around the movie star, that was way bigger.
Way bigger. Huge.
Like, kids now are like... I've heard people say this at Market before. Like, Brad Pitt, doesn't he do, like, TV or something? And like, he's one of the biggest movie stars ever. What are you talking about? Like, people know Tom Cruise and sometimes Brad Pitt, but like I could say like a middle tier actor from the 90s or the 2000s, I could say Gabriel Byrne.
Yeah.
Maybe like never heard of him.
Oh, for sure, never. Yeah.
Yeah, but like he's been in a ton of movies. He's in John Wick. Or not no, that's not who that is.
But I know what you're talking about.
You know the guy I'm thinking about.
Yeah,
he's dark haired and he's... You know what he was in? He was in, which you didn't see probably because it was too violent, was Sexy Beast.
I do not know.
What's that? You know what? Look that guy's name up, will you? The guy who plays Winston in John Wick. But anyway, not to get too off topic, the fun part about going to the movies, or even I'm going to be a little nostalgic here, but I kind of feel like, I almost feel pity for younger people with regards to experiencing media, either television or movies, because there's almost like a community around it. You could see a movie or a television show independently and then discuss it with people. And it was free of... everything now has like some kind of political attachment to it. And that really wasn't the case with them. It was just entertainment for entertainment's sake. I don't know if I can get through a day without, or even a movie on Netflix, without having some kind of political crap attached to it, or some kind of DEI, and what's the stuff I'm looking for here? Like hot button topics of like
woke movies.
Woke movies. Yeah, like all female casts or remakes of any of an all guy movie, or
black versus white.
Yeah, and it wasn't like that. You would have just varied casts in larger, even in large budget motion pictures throughout the 80s and 90s. I mean, okay, maybe everyone wasn't represented, but I had friends from all walks of life who could still go to a movie and appreciate a movie.
You mean friends from all walks of life who could still go to the same movie?
Go to the same movie. And now it's like, well, I didn't see my particular slice of my genetics represented. Therefore, I can't, I'm left out. Like, I am white Polak and Native American, and I have never. And okay, I granted, I'm speaking for myself.
Yeah. That's the whole point right now.
And I don't feel like left out of anything, but someone who is of color can look at me and say, well, it's because you guys are in everything. I'm like,
on the surface, it looks like you could be in everything, but
I don't feel that way when I see a movie. I don't feel like I'm part of that.
No, yeah, definitely not.
I just don't. And you and I have seen Indian movies, and I don't feel like I can't relate with those characters. I don't feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like if someone is experiencing tragedy, whether they're Indian or black or whatever, I'm like, that is horrible for that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like what the perpetrator of that violence is doing, but I don't identify with. Am I making sense here? Like, I don't.
Yeah, you are. I understand.
And I didn't mean to get off on the tangent of. Go ahead. Hey, interrupt me all the time.
Well, I was just going to add. Thank you. I was just going to add that I don't. When I go to movies, I don't go with the intention of seeing myself in the movie.
No.
Again, just talking about my personal self.
Except for Top Gun Maverick. That was awesome. I still want to be a fighter pilot.
Okay, because I was like, why are you talking about that movie? I definitely did not see myself in that movie.
You didn't. I saw because you're not a guy.
I'm not. But I mean that's the thing is I appreciate it sometimes, but sometimes it seems, well, a lot of times it seems fake. But also, again, I don't go to the movies to see myself in the movies. I mean, yeah, sure, it's nice, but I really don't. Like, I go to the movies because
it's an escape.
It's an escape. I want to do that. I want to enjoy it. I want to be away from, quote, this world for a couple of hours with other people. Yes, I want to sit in the dark and watch a movie and experience it with people that are all there for the same reason that I'm there.
This is why I like a movie like this, and this is something that today's generation, sorry, I sound like an old man, is missing out on. This is what was termed this wasn't even a middle market movie. This was like a sub-tier market movie. And like middle market movie, like just mid-level comedies.
Mm-hmm.
Like $20 or $30 million budget in the 80s or 90s.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the Three Amigos.
Okay.
Did you ever see that?
No.
Oh my God, there's so many movies we got to watch. Jeez, this podcast is going to go on for fucking ever because there's so much stuff you haven't seen. I mean, from my generation, that's all. But there were movies that weren't meant to be these giant tentpole hits like Marvel movies. They were just meant to be filler and fun for 2 hours, and you could make them for anywhere from $10 to $40 million bucks. And the studio would make a bunch of them, and they'd make 4 to 5 times their money. They were and they could just keep churning them out, but they weren't horrendously expensive to make. So the studio could make a bunch of them, and younger people now, they don't really get to see a lot of that original content in motion picture anymore. I mean, there's still movies like that, but not to the degree there used to be.
Everything is treated as a big blockbuster, and I personally don't always want to see that kind of a movie. I do like to see that kind of a movie sometimes, but I like more I think they call them indie films.
I like indies or subdued, things that are. What's fun about seeing a movie that isn't giant? It's almost like the story itself is another person, and it's kind of private because if it's small enough, only a few people are going to see it, and the people who are going to see it, there's something in common with you that drew them into the story. They're not always made. There's films out there and stories out there that aren't for everybody. They're just for if there's something that you're attracted to, the rest of the audience that's going to be drawn into it is drawn into it for a reason that may be similar to why you want to see it. So that's where I feel bad for younger people now, because the big movies now, they try to make something that's going to appeal to everybody and at the same time nobody. Fandango did not do that. This is for people who recognize that things were changing at certain points in their life. They use college as the touchstone for this particular story. And if you have been to a point in your life where you were well aware that things were about to change and you wanted to acknowledge it right before it changed, this movie is fantastic for you.
Yeah.
Did I leave anything else out? I could
Good
talk
conclusion.
about the. I'm having a little bit of a time with. Clearly, I'm technologically challenged. There was just a ton of locations for this: Alpine, Austin, El Paso.
Oh yeah.
Fort Davis, Lajitas, Marathon. That they shot it, looks like, all over Texas and parts of Mexico. So if you like the Great American Southwest, definitely worth checking out this movie. Did I leave anything else out?
No, I think that's good.
I really want a taco now.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
All right. Hugs and kisses. Go see a movie.
Go see Fandango.
Talk to you soon.